Okay, we've got a lot coming up in the show tonight. The extraordinary interview with the director of the documentary a bit later, but now let's bring in former Victorian Liberal Party President Michael Kroger and Labor legend Graham Richardson. Welcome to you both. Look, I want to get your reaction to Susan Lee. Graham Richardson, you'd have to agree, surely, that she is a placeholder. She's not someone who provides any threat to Albanese at all.
I can't imagine her becoming Prime Minister, that's for sure. I don't think that she's got what it takes to attract enough votes for that. So I think she's a leader who's temporary. I think she's there till they decide who they want to be leader. The difficulty is I don't think there's anyone there. I mean, this is just a time when the Liberal Party cupboard is bare.
Well, yeah, I don't disagree. I mean, that's what I've just been saying. So, Michael, do you think they need to look at who is a genuine, credible, talented individual? And isn't that Josh Frydenberg?
Well, it's obviously a matter for Josh down the track, but can I just say, Shari, and you know my position on Israel, there would be few people as passionate about Jewish and Israeli rights in the Liberal Party than me. I have discussed these matters with Susan Lee not so long ago, and I'm in no doubt as to the solidarity she has with the Jewish community and the people of Israel. Without necessarily saying it's her view, when people look at the issue from a zero knowledge base, you think, oh yeah, Jewish rights, Palestinian rights, fair enough, okay, they both should have their rights, they should both have land. But the more you look into it, the more times you visit Israel, and particularly her visit in 22, the more you understand that this is a country that has for decades had on its borders countries committed to its destruction. And eventually over time, a peace deal was done with the Egyptians, in resolution of conflicts with the Jordanians. But there's no peace deal with the Syrians, the Lebanese, or any of the other Arab countries apart from the four in the Abraham Accords. So the more, you know, Susan went there and you see the borders, you see how close. I mean, Gaza's an hour drive from Jerusalem.
But Michael,
when you go there, you get a sense.
She'd been there before.
She'd been there before. No, she'd been there before. But the more you look at the issue, the more you understand. And I'm in no doubt whatsoever about the solidity of Susan's views in relation to Israel. I think she fully understands the issue. She made that point yesterday, and Jewish Australians should have absolutely no concerns whatsoever about her positions now.
Well, Andrew Hastie...
And by the way, plenty of politicians have changed their positions over issues. I mean, Albo was opposed to turnbacks on a completely unrelated issue for years. Remember that? He didn't want the boats turned back, and then he changed his position. So this is not unusual for politicians. Reagan was a Democrat once.
All right, well, Andrew Hastie clearly has leadership ambitions, and he admitted as much on a podcast today. Have a look.
I'd be foolish to say I don't have a desire to lead. I do have a desire to lead.
Graham, what do you think? I mean, you've studied political hopefuls over decades and decades. Do you think he'd make a good future leader?
Yeah, I do. I don't know the fella. I've never met him.
You've never met him?
No, I've never met him. But I find, you know, when I look at him on the telly, he looks pretty good to me. Certainly the guy has a real understanding, I think, of world issues, more so than a lot of Liberals do. And I think he's the goods. I think he's going to do well in the future. He looks to me like a leader for sure.
What do you think, Michael? Do you think Andrew Hastie would be a future leader?
Look, Shari, as Richo knows better than any of us, there's not a single member of the federal parliament in the House of Reps and the Senate who doesn't want to be leader of their party. I mean, this is an ambition business. You know, find me one MP.
This isn't about personal ambition. Sorry to interrupt, but this isn't about personal ambition. There's very few people who have the intellect, the leadership ability to lead our entire nation. And clearly we haven't had those figures, you know, in those positions because...
Well,
as much as
you don't have it with Albo.
Yeah.
You don't have it with Albo and Chalmers, right? Albo, you know, he's got an economics degree. He's got no interest in economics, and Jim's got a degree in Paul Keating. I mean, these are not serious economic managers, which is why the debt level in this country is out of control, and we've got deficits for $35 billion until, you know, into the never. Susan Lee's got a master's degree in tax and accounting, so don't underestimate the intellect of this woman. And all these women out there, all the left women criticising her. I mean, you're talking about an intellectually gifted person in Susan Lee, you know, if Labor want to fight her on tax, on super, good. That's the Liberal Party's #1 brand equity on tax. So if Albo and Chalmers want to fight Susan on that, well, good luck. They'll lose.
I think the point is, for people who are extremely unhappy with the Albanese government and with the Prime Minister himself, we've covered that at length on this show, there needs to be an extremely strong leader of the Liberal Party. Otherwise, they will never get back into power. I mean, Richo, would you agree with that? Not never, but at least for the next 6 years anyway.
Yeah, I think
they need to win back 50 seats.
Yeah, it's going to take a while. Hopefully a long while, but it is going to take a while. There's an awful lot of ground to make up. I mean, I don't think people quite understand just how bad this election result has been. They're in strife, the Liberals. They'll get out of it. I'm not one of those doomsday sayers. The Liberals will certainly recover and they'll be back in government. But how long? And I've got a feeling it's going to be quite a while.
Yeah, well, if they don't muscle up and get a proper leader in place, it will be at least a decade. It's extraordinary.
Well, they've got a proper leader, and don't underestimate it. The Whitlam government lasted 3 years. How long did Campbell Newman last? He won, what, 90% of the seats and was gone, you know. Tony won in 13, we were almost gone in 16.
Do you think this government will be as bad as Whitlam, Michael?
Well, I mean, I think they're appalling, and you know, I keep saying, and let you know, we're adults in this show and people watching, so let's not beat around the bush. Labor didn't win because of their positive plan for the future. No, they don't have a positive plan for the future. They won because in 8 weeks they ran a brilliant, nasty, dirty campaign attacking Peter Dutton's personal credibility, which is what Labor are best at, and preyed on elderly Australians by, you know, convincing them their Medicare cards would be stolen from them under Peter Dutton, and urgent care clinics would be closed, and Medicare funding would be slashed and burned, and that nuclear was going to cost $600 billion.
And I'd add
seriously,
to that,
it was built on a tissue. It was built on a tissue of lies. Let's be honest.
They bought the young vote by promising to pay off people's HECS debt as well.
It was $16 billion. $16 billion to people who are going to earn a huge amount of money when they're older. And people who aren't at university now don't get the benefit. And what, being paid for by tradespeople and nurses and teachers are having to pay off these debts. I mean, that's just improper. I mean, it's bad politics and it's bad policy, and it's costing us $16 billion.
I want to get to this fascinating story. It's a new book that covers Joe Biden's mental decline, and it has details on that fundraiser. You remember when George Clooney finally admitted that Biden wasn't the man to lead the Democratic Party. Now, in this book, it says that Joe Biden didn't recognise George Clooney backstage before the event, and he even needed an aide to remind him who he was. Richo, I mean, if this is true and you expect it is, it's written by a CNN journalist, where does the effort to hide Biden's mental decline rank in the great political cover-ups? I mean, that's unbelievable.
Oh, it's right up there. There's no doubt about that. I mean, poor old Joe, he didn't know what room he was in, literally. The leader of the free world didn't know where he was half the time. I mean, it was a really dangerous situation, I think, for the world. And I'm delighted in the end that he resigned. That, you know, we've got a different government, and it's I think going to be a better one. I mean, even though Trump's not someone who's my fan favourite, I nonetheless recognise that Trump's got some real abilities. I mean, one of the things that he is that you could never accuse Biden of is he's decisive. He'll make up his mind. He'll make decisions. Biden just wanted to put them in the bottom drawer and hope they'd go away, but they don't.
You know what? Well, there's one thing I could say about you, Richo. Your comments never cease to surprise. I didn't think you'd be sitting here saying that Trump's current administration was better than Biden's. I mean, you hated Trump. Every week you said you'd prefer Kamala Harris. Now you're saying he's running a good presidency.
Well, I think, look, I think I've got a responsibility to have a look at things and judge them not by what I've thought in the past, but by what's happening in front of me.
Good on you. I appreciate that ability to change your mind, and I'm glad Trump's pleasing at least one Australian over here.